Hello and welcome to Fudge Muppet. I'm Michael and today you voted in the Paladin. Whilst you may see some mod-based aesthetics within the video, this build and all of our future builds can be made in plain old vanilla Skyrim.
Well, holy crap, I got myself an idea. Awesomely modded Skyrim character builds! Episodes in this series may be few and far between, but basically, what I'm going to be doing is character build videos. One build per video. Character builds are like classes. Different paths that you can take your character on in order to establish a role for yourself within the Elder Scrolls universe. So in one sense, it's heavily built into roleplay. However, it's also supported by mechanics through the mods that I'm going to be introducing. I got the inspiration to do these videos watching Fudge Muppet and his character build videos. Where this series differs is his builds are 100% supported by vanilla Skyrim. That's fine. However, we are members of the PC Gaming Master Race and modding is our strength. I'll be tailoring mod loadouts for these character builds. And my projected paths, while similar in build to Fudge Muppets, will be radically different over the course of the experience. And what I mean is our ability to kill essential NPCs, questmasters, children, spells and powers not normally accessible, and of course alternate starts. Your character won't be pigeonholed into being a prisoner in Helgen. Now, this video is what I call the Common Foundation. Basically, the Common Foundation are the programs and mods required in order to use all these different builds. You see, they're going to be sharing, and there's no sense in me explaining the same mods over and over with each build, so we're going to go ahead and explain the common ones first. The first program you're going to absolutely need in order to make any of this work well is Mod Organizer. You can get that at sourceforge.net/projects/mod organizer. To put it in simple terms, Mod Organizer does the Nexus Mod Manager's job, but better. Now by that statement I mean that the Nexus Mod Manager takes your mods and places them directly into the Skyrim folder, which is nice for keeping track of things because you just have to go into the Nexus Mod Manager, double click what you didn't want to be installed after all, and it will uninstall it. The problem is that it is already overwritten files. It is messing with stuff inside of your Skyrim folder. Now with Mod Organizer, it holds all of your files in a common download area. They can then be placed into the loadout as you see fit. And when you launch the game through Mod Organizer, that's right, you actually have to use that little run box in the corner. You don't want to just run it from Steam or anything like that. So when you launch it through Mod Organizer, it's going to inject the mods directly into your Skyrim game. At no point will it be overwriting folders or files in your Skyrim. The idea is that your Skyrim stays pure and you can go back to vanilla in a snap. And it's that ability to change the mods up on the fly, combined with the Profile Manager, that allows us to do all these different builds without having to worry about compromising our main run, whatever that may be. You can, of course, manage non-Nexus Manager mods through the button on top. The reason you need this program is because it's going to actually manage different profiles. One profile per build. We're going to go ahead and create a profile right now by clicking on this box right here. In this box, you can click Manage, and you can create a new profile. Obviously, name it your character name or the class or whatever you want to call it. Once the profile has been created, make sure to click the Local Save Games button. That's going to tie your save files to that specific profile so that you don't accidentally see other characters' saves in your game. And that's pretty important because your mods are going to be completely different. Incidentally, the profile I just created, Knights of the Nine, will be my first loadout. Now, any mods installed through the Steam Workshop will automatically appear in your Mod Organizer loadout after you've restarted Mod Organizer. After you have Mod Organizer up and running, you're going to want to go to skse.silverlock.org and pick up the Skyrim script extender. This program you're going to run instead of Skyrim from now on. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow mods to do things they normally aren't allowed to do. So if you try to install some of these mods and you're not using the Skyrim script extender, Skyrim will crash. This fixes it, and Skyrim just plain runs better with the script extender than normal Skyrim. Now, anyone who's modified Oblivion or Skyrim enough knows about BOSS, the Better Oblivion sorting software that will help them set the optimal load order for their experience. However, the developers have gone and made an improved version of that, and they've taken the word Oblivion out because it runs for multiple games. Now it is Loot, the load order optimization tool made by the same team. Now, Mod Organizer does actually have a loot built in on the sort button right under plugins. However, newer versions of loot are always coming out, so you're going to want to go ahead and pick that up. Now, how you run loot through Mod Organizer is you simply go to this drop down box here, hit edit, and put in the program information here. Once you've done that, you'll be able to select it from this list here and hit the run button. The idea is that it's going to take all the Mod Organizer mods and place them directly into loot for organization. After you've applied the sorting and closed the loot program completely, Mod Organizer will update with the new load order. Now that we've laid the common foundation, I'm going to get into the specific mods that may or may not be used in each build. And I refer to this part as the common library. While these patches are technically optional, I highly recommend them for every single installation of Skyrim, a character build or not. I'm going ahead and listing these first because they should be at the top of your load order, just underneath the actual Skyrim DLCs. These patches alone are the most compelling reason to play Skyrim on the PC as opposed to a console. You see, Bethesda released patch after patch after patch trying to fix bugs, and they didn't actually fix a majority of them. They went unfixed. That's right, most of the bugs Skyrim had. So these patches fix those bugs, the ones that Bethesda couldn't do. This completely shatters the preconception of the way Bethesda meant you to play it. Either way, get these. There's a bug in the final version of Skyrim that renders your third-person crosshair off to the side, and you can try an INI tweak to fix it. The problem is that it usually doesn't work right. It will mess up the first-person camera. And just in order to fix it easily, it's a no-brainer. Just install this mod and you'll have proper aiming. Now, some people do get confused by this mod. It will not guarantee that your arrow will always hit the target. There are other factors, such as gravity, to consider. This mod is 100% non-optional because it allows other mods to have mod configuration menus, and you're going to be using these. This mod was created because of Skyrim's awful console-based user interface. This mod gives it more of a user interface designed for the PC. The idea is that you can click on, say, the weight or the value of an item, and it will actually sort by that stat instead. Likewise, there's a filter box at the top of any menu where you can sort spells or items based on their name. In addition, it also creates an improved favorites menu with the ability to actually group sets of armor to a single button press. This mod is required by any build that uses Skyrim redone. The final Skyrim patch introduced the legendary skill system that allowed players to reset their level 100 skills in order to level up infinitely. This method of imposing amnesia on your character is stupid as all get out. Luckily, we fixed that with the community uncapper. This just allows your skills to go past 100. There are 2 alternate start mods. Go ahead and install both of them into Mod Organizer so that you can activate one or the other whenever you need to. Every build will use one of these because crossing the border illegally is so played out. We are done with that carriage ride. We're done with Alduin attacking Helgen. Alright, for the first one, alternate start Live Another Life allows for a more structured start. What I mean by that is you're actually able to pick specific locations and situations for your character to start in. It is great for a roleplay because it gives you that sense that your character belongs that way. You're not having to make up crap in your head in order to make it suitable. The game has already been tailored to your the way you want to play. This mod has issues with the most popular adventure mod known as Helgen Reborn. And the rule of thumb for using this with Helgen Reborn is to disable Helgen Reborn at the start, play your alternate start up until dragons start attacking, then you can go ahead and disable alternate start Live Another Life and activate Helgen Reborn. Under no condition should they be at the same time because they will turn Helgen into a crash zone. This is the main alternate start mod we'll be using, but as a backup, we will have Skyrim Unbound. When a build calls for a alternate start that isn't supported by Live Another Life, or we've got any kind of mod conflicts, this is our second banana. It is a hands-off approach where instead of loading into the game at a story-based location, you are simply deposited onto a mod configuration menu when you create a character, and you are allowed to pick specific details about your character from a list, and you basically make it all up in your head, which is good roleplay, but you know, it doesn't give you that that's mechanical drive like you belong here. You have to make it all up. Because more often than not, my character builds will have a specific list of skills you are to start with and use over the course of your character, you probably won't be needing the starting spells. If I make an exception, I'll go ahead and list it in that individual video. However, it's safe to assume that for 90% of the builds I'll be producing, no starting spells is a valid thing. That's the healing spell that you start with and the flame spell. Every build assumes that you can tweak your game in this fashion, and the reason is because many of the builds give you powers and abilities that you simply would not have access to in a normal game. In order to keep the game difficult, it would be impossible under the normal system. So this is where SkyTweak comes into play, because this is a very compatible and adaptable mod that allows full control over the game's statistics, such as the damage you deal, the damage that is dealt to you, magic damage, leveling, speed, jumping, height, and pretty much any other aspect of the game. We'll be able to tweak it with any build. Some builds may ask you to change the way trading works. However, trade and barter is a huge part of roleplay in the sense that, say, if you're playing a high elf, Nords will give you less beneficial prices more often than not. And likewise, if you're of the same race, they will tend to favor you. And if you have your weapon drawn, you'll get less good prices, so on, so on. All sorts of factors factor into it, such as if you're the leader of their faction, you're going to get a big hefty discount. Some builds will require very specific perks that an overhaul provides. For that reason, I will list the 4 main overhauls that exist for Skyrim. It is recommended that you install all of them into your mod organizer so that they can be activated or deactivated, depending on the build in question. Although for the most part, this mod has been replaced by Percus Maximus by the same author, there are some very particular perks that its successor lacks, and as a result, this mod may be called upon for those specific perks. Skyrim Redone. The least used out of the main overhauls, Spurg is very compatible with other mods, but it has a few unique perks, and 1 or 2 builds is very likely to use it, so it doesn't hurt to keep this one in your library as well. More likely than not, in pretty much any build of Skyrim, I'll be using either Requiem the role-playing overhaul or Percus Maximus, which are the 2 best overhauls for Skyrim. Now, Requiem is a more brutal experience, more resembling old style games where you basically had to die in order to figure out what you're doing wrong, in order to improve, and die less often, and finally get to the end of the game. Whereas Percus Maximus has the best perks that Skyrim has to offer. As a result, you tend to get a little overpowered with Percus Maximus, and difficulty mods have to be installed to balance things out. Now, with either Requiem or Percus Maximus, you're going to have to go ahead and use what's called a Skyproc Patcher. Now, what a Skyproc Patcher actually does is it takes all of the data from your various mods and creates a patch for them. And the idea is that it brings all of the data in line with that mod. So, for example, if a mod changes the way all weapons work, then a Skyproc Patcher is going to be created so that all of the weapons that are added by different mods fall under that new system of stats. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, shall we? Okay, so the way it works is you go into the box in the top corner there, you bring it down, you go to edit, alright? Then, where it says binary, you're going to want to go ahead and locate the folder where Mod Organizer is storing your mod data. In this specific instance, we're going to be looking at Requiem, the role-playing overhaul. It's the exact same thing for Percus Maximus. Simply locate the Skyproc directory inside, and you're going to find a jar file. That is actually a Java file. In this case, it's Requiem for the Indifferent, and in Percus Maximus, it's known as Patches Maximus. Either way, after you've selected the file, how it will end up looking is it will actually call on your Java application. Make sure that 32-bit Java is installed. A 64-bit Java version may crash when you're attempting to use it through Mod Organizer. Now, under the arguments section, you're going to want to scroll to the very beginning and make sure that -xmx space 1024M has been placed. And the reason is because you're allocating 1024 megabytes of memory for the usage of this patch, just in case you have way too many mods. It happens to everybody. Now, as for the jar file, just make sure that it's correctly pointing to the jar file that you selected earlier. Go ahead and click the add button where the modify button is for me, and it will be added to your list. Now, at any time, you can simply scroll down, in this case it's Patches Maximus, and run it as if you were running Skyrim. What'll happen is Mod Organizer will sit like this for a moment or two, and then a patcher will open. And once it's completely done, it will close out with no message. Now, once the patcher's finished, scroll all the way down to the bottom of your Mod Organizer loadout, and you'll see an overwrite folder. Go ahead and right-click on your overwrite folder, and select Create Mod. What's going to happen is it's going to give you a name for that, and then all of that specific Skyproc Patcher data will be added as a mod on your loadout. So when you change load orders, it won't have the same overwrite data clogging up your other game files. It will be very specific to this load order. Now, people have problems running Skyproc Patchers on occasion. It could be due to the installation of Java on your computer. Try uninstalling Java completely and reinstalling the 32-bit version. It could be due to your Skyrim folder or to Steam. Make sure to reinstall anything that is applicable. However, if all else fails and you can't get it to work, go ahead either to Percus Maximus or to Requiem's forums on the Nexus and ask for help there. Unfortunately, I can't help you when it comes to Java apps. Now, for the optional mods, these are used all the time by me, but you don't necessarily have to install them. There's Helmet Toggle. It's a great mod for crafting your character to make it look the way you want, because at any time you can hit H and it enables or disables the helmet graphic. Now, I say graphic because your helmet is still worn, you're still getting the stats from it, it's just making the helmet temporarily invisible so that your character's head can be seen. Next up, we have Transmogrification. That's the copy armor mod. The idea is that it allows you to copy the stats from one armor to another. So when we pick a very specific piece of armor for a character they should always wear as a matter of roleplay, but you still feel like you need to progress your character up to, say, Dragonbone or whatever the highest end stuff is, that ebony mail you got from a quest, I don't know. You will use copy armor to copy the stats from the new item into the role-playing gear. Interesting NPCs and inconsequential NPCs. These two mods populate the world with countless NPCs, new quests for them, some of them followers, some of them marriageable, some of them won't even talk to you at all. Filling in the cracks of Skyrim's world, both with major and minor characters to enhance your overall experience. I recommend these for any build, any playthrough. Some of them have great, superb voice acting, others have terrible voice acting. Just keep in mind that you are absolutely free to, at any time, murder the people who you don't like. Now, as for killable children, when this is allowed in any game, it is automatically considered to get an adult-only rating. It's why Skyrim's children are all essential. But don't worry, because mods fix that. This removes the essential status of all child characters. Remember to disable this for Falskar, because the Falskar main quest can get broken if a certain child dies. This mod will do countless things that Skytweak already does for you, but it also gives you access to very specific spells that allow you to do certain things to NPCs or objects in the game. One of which allows you to toggle on and off on the fly the essential status of an NPC. When I mean essential, it means whether or not it can actually be killed. So, say you were playing a Silver Hand character and you wanted to kill all the companions. Well, congratulations. Now you simply click on the companion in question and you cast the non-essential spell on that questmaster. Now that questmaster may die. It is a function of role-playing, because if you're a completionist, if you want to do absolutely everything Skyrim has to offer, obviously you don't want to kill essential NPCs. However, for our character builds, we're playing characters who would never even consider joining the Dark Brotherhood, and they want the Dark Brotherhood questmasters to die horribly. That's what it's for. Now, race menu is the most optional out of them all, but it'll let you customize the appearance of your characters far beyond what normal vanilla Skyrim allows. For a more comprehensive list of mods, check out my mod codex video in the box above. Now, for my first build, Knight of the Nine, check out the box below.